Welcome back to another episode of Off the Rails of Those Millennials Special. I'll be your host with the most opinions tonight. Jarrell, the people wanted it. You got me back. Kevin tried to cancel me, and I'm back again. And then I brought friends with me. The creator of Off the Dome podcast is with me. Matthew Goldstein's with me. He is. I met him at Summer League. Super knowledgeable NBA head, future writer, just a future NBA voice that we're going to be hearing from to come in the near future. Just keep a lookout for him. So, how you doing today, Matt? How's everything?
I appreciate the amazing intro. I'm doing great. This feels weird. Like I'm a guest, like on a podcast. I'm usually the host. Like it feels weird, like being in the couch for the late night talk show host. It feels kind of weird.
I know,
but it's great. I'm happy. I'm honored to be on it. Thank you so much,
no worries, man. No worries. I appreciate you taking out some of your time to
of course.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a different kind of podcast. Like Off the Rails is those millennial special. Just me doing my kind of cuts, my rants. I like to have a different kind of interview when I like to have more of a conversation. So I don't really sit around and say. I just kind of have bullet points, and then I just want to talk. So first I want to start talking about is the news that broke today actually. Late last night, if you didn't know while you were sleeping, Woj tweeted that the Boston Celtics had conversations with the Brooklyn Nets regarding superstar all-star forward Kevin Durant. And he said it was centered around the package of Jaylen Brown, it was immediately reported that it was like Brooklyn rejected it. I personally think this is a bad move for Brooklyn. I think Jaylen Brown is actually one of the few players you could get away with trading for Kevin Durant because you're never going to get the equal value. So I feel like that Brooklyn kind of blew maybe one of their best deals they could have had. What do you think about this whole situation?
I mean, apparently, not only does Brooklyn want the moon, they want the stars, they want the heavens, they want the other planets for Kevin Durant because they know that as good of a player as Jaylen Brown is, as good of a player as Derek White or Marcus Smart, or whatever value is, they're not going to replace Kevin Durant. And I feel like, and we talked about it on my podcast last week, ever since that insane King's ransom for a defensive player, Rudy Gobert, the market, what do you think the market was going to pay for Kevin Durant? Like, that's absurd. Like, it truly is. That was like a very fair offer. I really thought of like Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and I believe it was 2 first-round picks. I believe it was. Mm-hmm. That was a fair offer, but the Brooklyn Nets are saying, okay, we are going to get as much as we can out of it, and Boston's like, there's a limit for it. Yeah. Maybe Brooklyn, maybe Sean Marks, maybe it's just me. Maybe they're thinking, okay, we want Kevin to be here because he signed a 4-year extension and you immediately want out. Maybe they want to say to Kevin, despite the fact that everyone is never going to, apparently at this point, no one's ever going to trade for Kevin Durant from how this is going. Because the Brooklyn Nets want everything for Kevin Durant. But the thing is, teams are not going to cut their cores for Kevin Durant. Like you cannot, like for the Suns, the only other option would work because the Ayton thing went out the door was trading for Devin Booker, and you and I and every knowledgeable NBA fan knows that's never going to happen. They're not going to give up a close to superstar Devin Booker for Kevin Durant. That's not going to happen. And the Suns botched their opportunity the other week with DeAndre Ayton. So the Suns thing is pretty much out the door. The Boston Celtics deal, from what I'm hearing, the Nets want not only Jaylen Brown, they want White and they want Marcus Smart and another player and multiple first-round picks. The Nets want everything for Kevin Durant, but even in their right minds, they know they can't replace him. And I think what the Nets are trying to do is they're going to probably say to Kevin Durant, listen, we have you for 4 more years. Okay. We tried everything. And maybe this is just saying that we want Kevin Durant. Now, I don't think Kevin Durant is going to pout and sit out multiple games wearing Louis Vuitton jackets like Ben Simmons does. I don't think he's going to pout. Kevin Durant loves the ball. I don't think he's going to do that. But from what the Nets are doing, like at this point, nothing's going to please them. Like Larry David, there could be a great show that happens, and Larry David would be like, that's pretty much how it is and how that goes. And I don't. But look, from me and you being diehard Laker fans saying we want Kyrie, we're gonna hear the same answer every day. Kevin Durant, nothing's gonna happen with Kyrie until Kevin Durant's gonna get traded. And Kyrie, before this whole Lakers stuff happened, he opted into his contract, and he's still technically obligated to be with the Brooklyn Nets, even though the Nets are trying to trade him. I don't know. Let me ask you this, Jarrell. This is just me, but I might be in the minority of thinking this. If Kevin Durant, and from what I've read, that he wants, that Dave McMenamin said that maybe there's a point where Kevin Durant requested a trade because of Kyrie. Do you think that the Nets are willing to trade Kyrie regardless of what happens with Kevin Durant? Or do you think like we're going to hear the same old cliche, KD's the first domino to fall before Kyrie Irving? Like I don't know what's going to happen with that. Like, what do you think?
I have a two-parter on this overall. I think there's two things. Like overall, as far as the Kevin Durant situation, I gave a little bit, but I think overall, until I see the baby, like until I get the trade, I don't want to hear nothing else about any more leaks or any like until I see like because at the end of the day, I feel like it's just leveraging against something else. Like I ultimately think that Kyrie is just attached to Kevin Durant as much as anything else. I think if they ultimately cannot find a deal for him, which is looking like they're not going to, I think they kind of knew this was going to be now that you say that though, but it makes sense though because like this whole trade request, it just fell on deaf ears. And now, like I mean, I remember when Kobe Bryant said on a Stephen A. Smith show when he said, "I'd rather play on the moon than play for the Lakers." And then we told Kobe, "Go sit your ass down. We're not trading anybody. We asked for Ben Gordon. We asked for Joakim Noah. We asked for the entire Bulls roster. We asked for half of the Pistons roster. There was no chance we were going to trade Kobe Bryant." And what happened? We got him Pau Gasol that very next offseason.
No, I think it was like the trade deadline, like before. That was Kobe's MVP.
Yeah. The next deadline. So we went to that deadline with Kwame Brown, unfortunately.
Kwame Brown.
Dude, I gotta watch about Kwame. Kwame will come at you now.
I always think of what Stephen A. Smith says with the whole Kwame Brown thing. I mean that stuff just cracks me up. His whole imitation of Kwame Brown.
But that offseason, we end up getting Pau Gasol because of that. And I don't see a move now. The Suns made sense because I would have loved to see KD with Devin Booker. As a basketball
fan, it would have been great.
Yeah, I love basketball Voltron. When Kevin Durant joined the Warriors, it was the basketball offensive Voltron. We had never seen anything like it. So I feel like Booker, it would have been another basketball Voltron, and I don't know. We're not going to see it. I think they're going to tell him to bring your ass back to work. And we expect you here for training camp. And I don't think it's going to. And I think because they know Kevin Durant's psyche, they know there's no half-ass in him. Like they know he's going to be who he is every day. So I just rather you want the same circus, which I thought they kind of wanted to avoid this again. So I don't have to answer your questions, but
I get with you on that one. I mean, Kevin Durant's not, you have to understand, he's not getting any younger. He's going to turn 34 in September, and he's coming off, and he's only played 90 games in 3 years. Mm-hmm. Knock on wood for his health. Mm-hmm. And I think he's not going to half-ass it. He knows the pressure's mounted on him tremendously due to the fact that Golden State won a ring without him, and he has yet to win a ring outside of the Warriors' shadows. And he wants a one shot to prove all these naysayers wrong. I do think, though, I am in the minority of saying this. I think he wants to I think one of the reasons why he requested a trade, this hasn't been, I may just be theorizing on this, might have to do with Kyrie Irving. Now, David Meneman uttered a similar sentiment on it with ESPN. I do think that knowing Kevin's psyche, he loves the ball. He doesn't love like anything that goes on like off the court or any headlines or whatever, other than his Twitter burning and other than him going on social media and Twitter just roasting people like just shreds, and him going on burner accounts. Like, part of me thinks it was his brother that lashed out at Skip Bayless, but that's a whole nother subject for another day. Kevin Durant, I think, really wants to play, doesn't want any distractions. And Kyrie Irving is their game is fit perfectly, but if you really think about it, there's two different personalities. One of them just loves the hoop. The other one,
but these are the friends that he attached himself to, though. Like, these are his friends, you know, that he attached himself to.
Right. Kevin chose the wrong partner to go on this journey with. He chose the wrong journeyman. He chose a guy who even said in an interview once, basketball's not the most important thing in the world to me. Yeah. So and from what happened, now look, I give Kyrie Irving this. The whole like New York City mandate, whatever, really fucked up their whole season up. And James Harden coming out of shape going into that last year, that didn't really help. Now, when the Nets were struggling, they ultimately gave up and caved in, and Kyrie won, and he was able to come back at the time as a part-time player. And then what happened was they were rolling. They were the number one seed in the East. They just had a great win against the Bulls. And then all of a sudden, KD sprains his MCL. Kyrie's a part-time player. James Harden said, fuck this. I'm just going to half-ass it. I want to go to Philly and reunite with Daryl Morey.
Yeah.
And then Kyrie that whole vaccine mandate didn't get lifted until like the play-in. And Kevin was pretty sick of Kyrie shenanigans and what he was saying, how he was trying to troll the media, how he didn't want to commit himself to the team, unlike how Andrew Wiggins reluctantly committed himself to Golden State. And because even Wiggins said on a podcast, he's like, part of me regrets me wanting to get the vaccine to play for the Warriors. Yeah. So Kyrie, that whole situation really screwed up, and the Celtics were just a better team. Like the Nets had the better two players. The Celtics, if you look at the teams from top to bottom, like the Celtics were clearly a better team in every single way. And it was really no-brainer that I picked the Celtics that series, and it showed. And they played an amazing defense like Kevin Durant. But part of me really said, Kevin Durant's better than that. Even against a great defense, he would still put up great numbers.
Yeah.
And he wasn't himself. Kyrie, other than that game one, shrunk. And we know he's a terrible defender.
Yeah.
I think, to sum this all up, I think Kevin Durant really wants Kyrie Irving gone. I don't think they're not friends anymore. I think they still are friends, but they're not really, I feel like, as close as they were when they first got to Brooklyn. So if I had to guess, I think Kevin Durant wants Kyrie Irving gone. That's just a bold take of mine, but I think he's pretty fed up with Kyrie. And the Nets, I don't think are really going to cater to Kyrie Irving's needs of what he wants.
Yeah.
But look, the Lakers are the only team that's negotiating with the Nets. So that's just really how I look at it.
Got you. So ultimately, we want to end on this. If you had to put it at a percentage, where do you see Kevin Durant, or however you want to put it, where do you see Kevin Durant opening training camp at?
Well, let me just say this. I thought the Celtics deal was actually a pretty good deal, to be honest with you. That was like a very fair offer. But from how the Nets are thinking right now, they want Kevin Durant badly, and they're going to do everything that's possible to do it, even though Kevin Durant hasn't backed off any trade requests, according to Woj. I'm just going to reluctantly say it, and fuck it. I'm thinking he's going to stay with Brooklyn, because apparently the Nets, anybody could offer the moon, and the Nets would want the stars the other planets, and they would want so much.
Yeah.
Like they would want the steak, but they want the mashed potatoes, the asparagus, and the key lime pie for dessert. Like that's what they want right now. If I think at this point, the Nets are just not going to bite on anybody else's offers. So I'm going to say, yeah, he's going to stay in Brooklyn. But let me ask you this. What do you think of my theory, though, that he wants Kyrie gone regardless? Like, do you think that's a – do you think that's
I think that there's something to that. I believe that there's a level of understanding that they respect each other as businessmen outside of them. Like, I truly believe that it's like on some – like on the court, it's like, or in between in the company, however they are, they truly don't get involved in each other's dealings. No. So I think that was more so the fact that he has two players he cannot rely on. Not only does he have to rely on Ben Simmons, who not only abandoned help. Like you understand how hard it is to have a cog, a 2, a 1, and just to have somebody to play like a good 25 points a game. And the fact that Ben Simmons said, "Nah, I'm good on that," and now he has two players that he don't know what the hell he's gonna get. So I believe that theory that this is about getting away from Kyrie Irving. So ultimately, I think the same. I think it's ultimately everybody's gonna get back in Brooklyn. But ending on that note, I wanted to start off with a little bit that everything that's been going on today. NBA is forever a 12-month sport now. I want to talk more about you. I want to talk more about Off the Dome. I've been listening. I've been going through a lot of your old episodes. Listen to the Jeff Pearlman interview. I know your relationship with Raj Markazi and the interviews you had with him.
Yeah.
What led you? Like, what was the motivation to say, "I'm going to start Off the Dome"? Like, this is what I want to do amongst when everybody else is doing it. Like, what makes you say, "You know what? I'm going to throw my hat in this ring"?
It's kind of like a nonchalant story if you really look at it. Like, I was with my friends one night, and we were at somebody's house, and I was just blibber blabbering about stuff, about like the off season, like during the pandemic that was going on, like before the NBA bubble. And the other one, we were watching a movie, and I have this weird memory where, the website Rotten Tomatoes, I memorized like almost every movie score from most movies like ever. So that's what happened.
And like, Get Out score?
Get Out was a 98%.
Damn, you're good.
So that's how that came about. So like I love like talking movies and all that, and my friends are like, just fuck it, spare it. You say whatever the fuck's off your mind, off your head. You should call it Off the Dome with Matt G. I was like, really? Okay. So, and that was like when COVID was like the heightened thing, like at where we were all like stuck into our houses and with social distancing going on, and there was not really much going on. And I had this passion of mine, like eventually at some point in my life, just doing a podcast by myself. I did it at school for the Daily Illini. I did it at camp for my own radio show, my summer camp, and I decided, okay, let's do it. And I decided to talk about the headlines in sports mainly because that's like my passion. I occasionally like to talk about movies, but at some point, maybe one day down the road, I'd love to do a movie podcast. But my sports are my passion. It's what I love to talk about, for better or for worse, to give my unfiltered takes. Colin Cowherd and Bill Simmons like inspired me in that sort of way to do a podcast, and like both have their own like shticks of what happened, and I just wanted to I was inspired by what two of them did, and just kind of wanted to make it my own. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much what happened. I just said, if I wanted to make this a legit thing, why not interview some people in the industry? And I've read Jeff Pearlman's books. I read his Walter Payton biography because I'm a Chicago Bears fan. I read his 2 Laker books, Showtime, and I also read Three Ring Circus, the story of the Shaq Kobe book. And I interviewed Markazi because I met him at this virtual sports conference, and we kind of were hitting it off then. And Yeah, and I interviewed him, and he's like a very reputable journalist. So I had him on, and I would just interview like anybody that's like in the media so I could like pick their brains about, because I love focusing on the craft of making my own niche to break into this industry. Because if you and I both know this, Jarrell, in order to break into this sort of industry, you have to carve out your own niche in that sort of way. So that's pretty much what I was trying to do. And it was and as it was tough for me to like constantly keep up and doing like podcasts every day. So in order to like get inspired by another one's ideas, I would have a mentee of mine, a guy who's going to be in media school at Illinois. His name's Jordan, bright young kid. I consider him to be I'm considered a mentor to him, and I'm also considered his debate partner and a guy who I like to debate the shit out of and ultimately humiliate him on all debate shows. So that's pretty much how it is. And but I'm training him for the smoke one day. But no, he's in all seriousness, he's a good kid. And I ultimately said if I wanted to also do this on the side with my real job to get paid, I wanted to put myself out there and hopefully get a sponsorship. And thankfully, I was able to do that. My buddy's company is called Brain Fuel. It's a sports energy drink headlined by Marcus Smart and Spencer Dinwiddie. So I was able to reach out to him for like a sponsorship, and I sent him a link for my podcast. And now they're a proud sponsor of our show, along with the Anchor app, which is the easiest way to make a podcast. So that's pretty much it, really. I hope that answers your question.
No, I love it. I love it. Oh, but so while we're on the topic, so you said you're currently living in Chicago.
Yeah.
So how did you become a Laker fan? Like what was the moment? When did you got the Bulls in your backyard, the statue of Jordan? I'm pretty sure you see it all the time.
All the time.
What was the moment that you said the Lakers is for me?
I kind of had that kind of personality where I just wanted to be like different from everybody else. And it kind of started like, say, 10, 11 years ago when like everybody was Bulls. And like, I was just come from an environment where personally, I just felt like being different, to be honest with you, cheering for the same. Here's what really happened. My cousin is from LA and is a big Laker fan, big. And Kobe was my idol growing up. And as great as the Bulls were, I just felt really like I needed to like be different from everybody else in that sort of way. I don't know. I can't explain it. Kobe's my idol. I loved watching Laker games. I love the organization for what they were. And I said when I was a little kid, ever since seeing my first Laker game, I said, okay, that whole experience was great. I remember the game I went to, my first ever Laker game. It was March 2008, and it was against Baron Davis and the We Believe Golden State Warriors. And that was Kobe's MVP season. And just the whole atmosphere. You've been to Staples multiple. Well, now it's called the Crypt, but you've been. I call it Staples. Fuck that. I call it that covering is a stupid nickname. But anyways, just the whole atmosphere and like the whole history of the Lakers really was like what made me fall in love with them. To be honest with you, like the whole history. You look at them are some of legends, icons like Magic, Shaq, Kobe, Will, Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, you name it. And now hopefully LeBron, if he I'm sure his jersey is going to be retired. I mean, he won the fucking championship.
Yeah, it has to be retired.
He has to be. So it really just started then, and I get a lot of shit for it, but people think, oh, you like him because of no, I liked him way before then. And I even liked him during their baby Laker years when they had Clarkson and Ingram and those kinds of players and Julius Randle. Like I liked watching them. I liked like rooting on a sort of team that was like trying to make up to that historic legendary status. So, and then they started to develop, they had some nice young talent with Zoe and Kuz. And then they got Bron, I was thinking like, okay, we're back on the mountaintop. Now, some people thought he came there just for basketball, for business or whatever, but I mean, yeah, business, obviously. When you go to LA, of course you're going to get involved with business. But he wanted to win a championship. I mean, I think he's the greatest player ever, playing for the greatest franchise ever. Like, that's like an easy sell, really, like for us to be great. And then getting Anthony Davis the year after a disappointing season, we were back on the mountaintop winning that championship. And anyone that said, by the way, just a quick point of order. Anyone that says that rings an asterisk title is either A, just a Laker hater, B, they just haven't ever experienced it. I don't think those people would have said anything.
They're just casuals. Yeah,
they're fucking casuals. Like everyone says, we would have said that had the Clippers won it. Bullshit.
Yeah.
That's really like
they're LeBron haters.
That's really what they were. They're all LeBron Laker haters. They wouldn't have said shit had the Clippers, Celtics, Heat, or whatever other team had won it. Like, they wouldn't have said anything. Those are casuals that don't know basketball. So that's really what – that answers your question. That's kind of how I got involved. Was like, my cousin's from LA. I wanted to be different, and I loved Kobe, and I loved the Laker organization ever since my first game. And some point in my life, I don't know when that's going to be, like, I love to live in Los Angeles and just experience it. Like, what was that?
A lot of traffic.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot of traffic. I'm never going to drive there. I'll probably just Uber all the time there. But I'm actually going to LA to visit my friend there, so it'll be very nice.
Okay, cool. So we're going to probably end on this. I'm going to talk about a painful subject. I didn't think I was going to end it on this one, but I'm going to bring it up. The Bears.
Oh. Oh, Lord. Oh, where do I start there?
Okay, it's a new day. It's a new day. You got Justin Fields. The Nagy era is finally over. Hallelujah. No more Nagy.
Oh, my God. Yeah, run it on 3rd and 9. Run the fucking ball on 3rd and 9. Yeah, absolutely.
Eberflus, you got my boy Kevin's defensive coordinator, because my boy Kevin's a Cole fan. You got his defensive coordinator. And so you cooking with hot grease right now in Chicago. 6 wins?
I haven't checked the over-under, but I'm probably going to say I'm going to go under 6. So what's the odds right now?
Odds? Let me see if I can put them up real quick. Let me see. I can pull it up real quick. Bears over under. Doing this on the fly. It's currently it's not even at 6 wins. I think it's just at 5.
Oh,
5.5.
Oh, it's all under. Is it 5.5, or is it just 5 straight up?
Give me a second. It is 5 straight up.
5 straight up. If I just tell you 5, is it a push?
Yeah. We know what, but I'm looking at another one that has. You know what? This is the most accurate one. I'm gonna go. It's 6.5.
6.5. I'm gonna do under 6.5. I'm just being a realist Chicago Bears fan ever. Like, they just don't have the offensive weapons to contend with the other teams. Like, I really just don't see it. Like, I like the Chiefs receiver. I forgot what Chiefs receiver we got. Byron Pringle. Mm-hmm. I like him. And I like Darnell and Justin. Like, they're going to be a good combination. I like Montgomery. But they did lose Khalil Mack, and Roquan Smith still hasn't got an extension yet, which is fucking bullshit.
Because he should be extended.
But look, I just don't really have much expectations for him. Jarrell, to be honest with you, as much as I'm a Bears fan, but I'm also like a big NFL fan. Like, I love watching every game possible and doing fantasy and just betting on it. Love talking about it. Yeah. Like, if I focus my attention just on the Bears, then that's not really a productive.
I hear you. I feel the same way about my Cowboys, man. Like,
honestly, okay.
I love them.
Oh,
I'm picking them to win the Super Bowl this year.
Of course you are. Of course you're picking them to win the Super Bowl. Every year, the same old Cowboy fans tell me we're going to win the Super Bowl. Right? We're going to win the Super Bowl. We got everybody. That's excited. We got Zeke's coming back healthy. We're going to do it. We're going to do it for Jerry.
You guys is healthy. This is the first offseason that Dak has been healthy. Dak wasn't healthy last offseason.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to hear the same old movie. He's going to put up when you're down like 25 plus, he's going to put up 400 plus yards and 2 touchdowns. That's really what I'm going to see from Prescott. He is the classic empty calorie quarterback. The classic empty calorie.
He has the same amount of win as Lamar Jackson. He has the same amount of
and guess what? Him and Lamar Jackson had the same amount of playoff wins in both their entire careers.
Yeah, 2. 1. Oh, 1. Yeah, 1 and 2. 1 and 2. Yeah. That's true. But nobody said shit about Lamar Jackson. Lamar
was an MVP.
Dak probably should have won MVP before he got it.
No.
Before he got injured, I'm telling you, go back and look at everything before the Patriots game. He was a top 5 quarterback.
No, he was not a top. Oh my God. Oh, that is just biased thinking. No, he was not. No,
Dak.
Okay. Look, I'm going to tell you all the quarterbacks, and you tell me if you think Dak Prescott's better than any of them.
Okay.
You obviously don't think he's better than Brady. You don't think he's better than Rodgers. Don't think he's better than Mahomes, Josh Allen. Do you think he's better than Joe Burrow? Oh my God. You're thinking about it.
I mean, what do I want? Am I looking at, if I'm going from intangibles, Dakota Rain Prescott, he just has all the intangibles that I want, and he's finally healthy. And I'm just telling you, this is the year. I think this is the year.
Really? Let me ask you this. Would you take him over Justin Herbert?
No, not right now. Justin's young. I got to factor in age too.
Okay. Would you take him over Lamar?
Yes.
What? No. You were
Dak Prescott's better than Lamar Jackson. Yes.
Over Lamar Jackson.
Prescott is better than Lamar Jackson.
No, he's not. No, he's not. Lamar Jackson, it goes lightning quick, and he's one of the best running quarterbacks ever. Like Cam started that trend, but Lamar took it to a whole nother level.
I'm gonna put a poll on this for the those millennial page. Who's a better quarterback, Dak Prescott, or who would you take? Not a better quarterback because everybody gonna say Dak.
I would. Lamar should. By the way, Lamar Jackson should be getting a contract extension. He absolutely should. I mean, he won MVP. Yeah. I mean, that's sensational. He made multiple Pro Bowls. He won a playoff game. Yes, I give you that. Dak's a more accurate passer. But as far as game-winning drives, as far as a guy I would want in the clutch, as far as a guy like I would want leading, a guy who can make better plays with his legs, I would take Lamar Jackson. And you know what? Let me ask you this. Yeah. Who would you rather take, Dak Prescott or Kyler Murray?
Dak Prescott.
No, I would not take
Dak. They had to put a clause in Kyler Murray's contract so he could make sure he watched film.
Kyler Murray is a better default than Dak Prescott. Kyler Murray is a better runner than Dak Prescott. Kyler Murray has made every Pro Bowl every single one of his years. He made all rookie first. He won Rookie of the Year. Kyler Murray is more accomplished right now besides the one playoff win. And Dak's been in the league longer than Kyler Murray.
This is the year. I'm just telling you.
Kyler's off to a better start in his career than Dak Prescott.
I'm giving you a futures bet right now. Cowboys Super Bowl, all right? I'm giving you your futures right now.
What? Okay, what odds do you want me to give you?
I mean, what do you think they are? Because
they're probably like middle of the road-ish. I mean, like they might have to be middle of the road because they're plus 900. Okay, I will give you. How about $20 bet, 20 to win 200?
Okay.
I win 200?
Okay. Noted.
Okay. Kevin,
you got that? You got that, Kevin? All right. So we're going to wrap it right there. That was Off the Rails. Off the Rails is back. I want to thank you, Matthew, for coming on, man. I really appreciate the love you've shown us. This is the beginning. It's just the start of the empire.
Just the start. Just to start, man. I'm honored to be a guest on this.
Just to start, once the sports get back ramping up, it's gonna be a monster.
It will be a monster, absolutely. And by the way, let me just quick point of order. I would rather do Buddy Hield and Miles Turner right now. I think if the Kyrie thing doesn't go, I want us to get Buddy Hield and Miles Turner. I think that'd be very good for us.
We were talking about that. Facts. So we're gonna wrap it right there. That'll be off the rails for tonight. We appreciate you for joining us. I'm Jarrell. That's Matt. Thank you, Kev, for joining in. We out.